your home for powerful stories, life-changing books, and smart strategies to help you speak English fluently and confidently. Today, you're going to listen to one of the most emotional and inspiring brand success stories in the world. Do you know how much money Honda makes every single minute? More than $25,000 in just 1 minute. They don't just make bikes. They don't just make cars. They also build private jets, robots, and even boats. But here's the truth. This story is not about money. This is a story of a man who faced rejection, loss, war, earthquake, bankruptcy, and humiliation. This is a story of a man who had no formal education, no rich family, and no support, yet changed the world. Soichiro Honda. This story will teach you why failure is not your enemy, how pain can build your future, and how even if the world says you can't, you still can. So watch this story till the end, because every chapter will give you hope, motivation, and most importantly, simple English you can learn and understand easily. And if you enjoy the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Watched Wheels. Soichiro's Early Life. Soichiro Honda was born on November 17, 1906, in a small village called Komio, in Shizuoka Prefecture, Japan. He was not born in a city. He was born in a very poor and quiet village. His family was poor, but not just financially. They had many emotional struggles too. His father, Jiaki Honda, was a blacksmith. That means he used to repair things like bicycles, kitchen tools, and other metal items. He was also very smart with his hands. His mother, Mika Honda, was a weaver. She made cloth from her hands. They were a working-class family. Every member of the family worked hard to survive. But life was not easy for them. Soichiro had 8 siblings. Yes, 8. But you know what? 5 of them died when they were very young. They were so poor that they couldn't afford medicine. Soichiro saw death very closely. He saw pain, he saw hunger, he saw helplessness. He said later in an interview, "I was not afraid of failure, because I saw things worse than failure when I was a child." His first love was not a person. It was a machine. One day, a strange machine came to his village, something he had never seen before. It was a car. He had never seen one in real life. He was only 8 or 9 years old when he saw that car for the first time. The road was dusty, the engine was noisy, the driver was proud. But Soichiro was curious. He ran behind the car. He looked at the wheels. He stared at the moving parts. He didn't care about the dust. He didn't care about the noise. In that moment, he fell in love, not with the car, but with how the car moved. He said later, "I don't remember the color of the car. I don't remember the brand. I only remember the smell of oil. I only remember the sound of the engine. That was enough." Many people think to become successful, you must be top in school. But Soichiro was not a good student at all. In fact, he failed many subjects, and sometimes he would skip school just to go to the workshop with his father. His teachers didn't think he would achieve anything. His classmates didn't take him seriously. But what nobody saw was this. He was learning with his hands. He loved machines. He loved engines. He loved building things. Sometimes he would collect old bicycle parts from the street and bring them home. He would fix them, build new things, break them again, and learn from his mistakes. His brain didn't like textbooks. His brain loved nuts, bolts, wires, tools, and gears. When Soichiro turned 15 years old, he did something very bold. He saw an advertisement in a newspaper for a mechanic job in Tokyo, the capital city. He had never been to a big city before. He had no money. He had no rich uncle in Tokyo. But he still applied. And guess what? He was selected. But the company didn't say, "We'll train you fully." They said, "You will be an assistant. You will clean. You will observe. You will not touch the tools for a long time." But Soichiro said, "Okay." He didn't want a perfect job. He wanted a place to learn. He worked under Art Shokai, a small auto repair shop. The owner was impressed because Soichiro worked harder than anyone else. He cleaned the floor. He observed every step when someone repaired an engine. He watched every movement, listened to every sound, and remembered every detail. He stayed up late to learn more. He asked questions. He read manuals. And soon, he started getting noticed. He was given his first chance to build a racing car engine. At age 17, he helped his company win a race. By the time he was 22 years old, he had big dreams. He didn't just want to fix cars. He wanted to build parts, create new technology, and start his own company one day. He said, "The best learning is not in books. It's in failure, hands-on experience, and your own passion." And with that vision, Soichiro started taking the first steps toward building his future empire. But life was going to test him many, many times. Chapter 2: Fire, Failure, and the Rise of a Dream. After working for many years in the repair shop, learning everything about machines, engines, and parts, Soichiro finally opened his own small company. He called it Tokai Seiki, Eastern Sea Precision Machine Company. What did his company do? It made piston rings, an important part inside car engines. Every car needs piston rings. Without them, the engine will not work properly. So Soichiro thought, if I can build piston rings and sell them to big companies, my company will grow. He had no big machines, no team of experts. He had only a small workshop, some basic tools, and his hands. But what he had more than anything was belief. Belief in his dream. Now let's talk about the truth. The first time Soichiro made piston rings, they failed. The second time, they also failed. The third time, still failed. Not one company wanted to buy them. Even the biggest car company in Japan at that time, Toyota, rejected his work. They said, "The quality is too poor. These piston rings are useless." Can you imagine? After all that hard work, he got nothing. But did he stop? No, Soichiro didn't cry. He didn't run away. He said something powerful. Success is 99% failure. So he kept working. He tested. He failed. He tested again. He went to a technical school in the evening to learn more science. He used his own savings to do experiments. He even sold his wife's jewelry to keep the business running. He tried more than 50 times to get it right. And finally, one day, it worked. After years of hard work, Toyota finally said, "Yes, we want your piston rings." This was like a dream come true. Soichiro was very happy. He smiled and thought, now my life will change. Now my business will grow. Toyota gave him a big contract. They said, "We will buy your piston rings in large quantity." Everything was going well. He started building a new factory. He hired people. He bought more tools. It looked like his dreams were becoming real. But life had other plans. In 1935, just when a factory was getting ready, a huge earthquake hit the area. Boom. The building collapsed. Machines broke. Walls cracked. Everything he had built with so much love, destroyed. People said, "Soichiro, this is a sign. Stop this business. Go get a job." But Soichiro said, "No, If I stop now, then everything I learned will be wasted. So he started again. He collected scrap metal. He rebuilt his factory piece by piece. He worked day and night, fixing everything with his team. And just when things were getting better, in the early 1940s, World War II started. And this time, something even worse happened. Bombs were dropped over Japan. One of those bombs fell on Soichiro's factory. Boom. Everything burned. His workshop, his tools, the building. It all turned into ashes. The dream he had built twice, gone again. Soichiro stood in front of the burnt building. Smoke in the air, tears in his eyes. But inside his heart, there was still fire. People again told him, "You lost everything. You can't start again." But he replied, "Success is not about how high you go. It's about how many times you stand up after falling." After the war ended, Japan was in a very bad condition. There was no money, no fuel, and no jobs. People had lost everything. Soichiro looked around. People were tired. People had no transport. They were walking miles every day. Even bicycles were too expensive. And then, Soichiro got an idea. He had an old army generator, a machine that creates power. He thought, what if I attach this small engine to a bicycle? And he did it. He created the first motorized bicycle in Japan. It was cheap, simple, and fast. People loved it. And just like that, a new company was born. Honda Motor Company. At this point, Soichiro could have named the company anything. But he chose to name it Honda after his own name. Why? Because he believed in accountability. He said, "If it fails, I will take responsibility. If it succeeds, the name will remind people that it all started with one man and a big dream." The small engine bicycle became a big hit. People from all over Japan started buying it. Within a few years, Honda started building better engines, bigger bikes, and stronger machines. They created the famous Honda Cub, one of the best-selling bikes in history. Chapter 3. From Motorbikes to Cars. Chasing Giants with Courage. Soichiro Honda had now created something that was changing people's lives. A simple motorized bicycle. It was affordable, fast, easy to use, and perfect for a poor, broken Japan after the war. People who had no vehicles were now riding motorized bikes, going to work, taking their children to school, doing daily shopping, and even delivering food. This little invention was not just a machine. It was hope. And this was just the beginning. After the success of the motorbike, Soichiro did not sit back and relax. He did not say, "Now I have made it." No, he said something powerful that shows how he thought. The value of life can be measured by how many times your soul has been deeply stirred. He wanted to stir the soul of every person in the world. He wanted to go beyond Japan. He wanted to build something bigger, something more powerful, something that would compete with the biggest companies in the world. He said to himself, "Now we will make cars." At that time, making cars was not a joke. In Japan, there were already giant car companies like Toyota, Nissan, and Mazda. These companies were huge, powerful, well-funded, and already selling cars across the country. Soichiro Honda had never made a car before. He didn't even have proper equipment, engineers, or big factories like Toyota. People laughed at him. Even some of his employees said, "We are bike makers. How can we build cars?" But Honda looked them in the eye and said, "We are not here to copy others. We are here to create something new." He didn't care about how big other companies were. He didn't care that people called him crazy. He believed in taking risks. In the early 1960s, Honda and his team started working on their first car. They worked in small workshops. They did not have air conditioning. They didn't even have proper floors. It was dusty, noisy, and difficult. But they had passion. Honda worked side by side with the engineers. He didn't sit in a glass office. He wore a cap, rolled up his sleeves, and got his hands dirty. Every screw, every wire, every bolt. He wanted to know how it worked. He didn't want to copy cars made by other companies. He wanted to build something new, something smaller, more efficient, and cheaper, because he wanted normal people, not just rich people, to own a car. In 1963, they released their first car, the Honda T360, a small pickup truck with a tiny engine. And it wasn't a luxury car or a fast sports car. This was not just a truck. It was Honda's announcement to the world. We are here, and we're different. It had a 356 cubic centimeter engine. That's smaller than most motorcycle engines today. The engine produced 30 horsepower and could reach a top speed of around 100 kilometers per hour, 62 miles per hour. It was extremely lightweight, which made it fuel efficient and affordable. Price: around 400,000 yen in Japan at that time. Roughly 1,100 US dollars back then. It was designed mainly for small business owners, farmers, and delivery work. People who needed something practical and cheap. But here's the twist. The engine was red. Yes, red. Honda put the engine from a motorcycle into a truck and painted it red to stand out. No one had done this before. It was strange, new, and exciting. And guess what? People loved it. It wasn't luxurious, but it was reliable, cute, and fun to drive. It was something fresh in the market full of big, boring cars. More than 100,000 units were sold. That's how strong the impact was. Just a few months after the T360, Honda dropped another surprise. A car that looked like it came from the future. This was the Honda S500, their first passenger car, and it was completely different from what anyone expected. It had a 531 cubic centimeter engine, producing 44 horsepower, which was very powerful for such a small car. It could reach a top speed of 130 kilometers per hour, 81 miles per hour, faster than many bigger cars. It had chain-driven rear wheels, just like a motorcycle. Again, Honda doing things their way. Price: around 459,000 yen. Roughly 1,270 US dollars back then. It had a sleek, sporty design. A soft convertible top, round headlights, and a curvy body. It looked like a toy, but it drove like a dream. At a time when Japanese cars were seen as basic and boring, the S500 showed the world that Honda was not afraid to be bold. This little sports car wasn't just for speed, it was for fun, freedom, and dreamers. The result? People were amazed. Honda wasn't copying anyone. They were creating their own path. A small pickup truck with the motorcycle heart. A sports car that felt alive. People started asking, who is this Honda company, and what will they do next? These two cars, the T360 and S500, didn't just move on wheels, they moved people. They introduced the world to Honda's spirit, small engines, big dreams, and the courage to be different. Now here comes the most important part of the story. Honda didn't want to stop in Japan. He looked across the ocean at the United States of America, the land of Ford, Chevrolet, and Chrysler. The land where car companies were kings. Many Japanese companies were afraid to go to America. The market was difficult. People in the US liked big cars, powerful engines, and strong designs. Japanese cars were seen as small, weak, and strange. But Honda was different. He said, "If we can make the best product, we can enter any market." In 1972, Honda released the Honda Civic. It was small, it was cheap, it was fuel efficient, and most importantly, it was reliable. At first glance, it didn't look like a big deal. It was small, it was simple, it wasn't flashy or loud. But behind that little car was a big idea. Fuel efficient. It used very little petrol. People could drive longer and save money. Reliable. It didn't break down often. It just kept going and going. Affordable. Almost anyone could buy it. It was much cheaper than most cars. Easy to drive. Simple design. Smooth to handle. Great for families, students, and workers. At that time, America was going through a fuel crisis. Petrol, gasoline prices were rising. People needed smaller cars that used less fuel. Honda Civic arrived at the perfect time. It was like a gift for American families. Within a short time, Honda Civic became a massive success in the US. People in the US were shocked. They said, "This little car from Japan is better than many of our big cars." Soichiro Honda had done something incredible. He had entered the biggest and most competitive car market in the world and won people's hearts. The name Honda was no longer just a Japanese brand. It became a global symbol of quality, innovation, and trust. After the Civic came another masterpiece, the Honda Accord. Launched in 1976, the Accord was larger than the Civic, but still fuel-efficient and smart. It became a favorite family car in America, Europe, and across the world. People started saying, "If you want a car that lasts for years, buy a Honda." The Accord became one of the best-selling cars in American history. The name Accord means harmony, peace, and agreement. Honda chose this name because they wanted their car to be in perfect harmony with people and the world. Comfortable, efficient, safe. Something that simply felt right. And that's exactly what it became. What made the Accord special? When the Accord was released, it surprised people again, just like the Civic did. Fuel efficient. Even though it was bigger, it still saved fuel. Spacious and comfortable. It had more space inside, great for families and longer journeys. Smooth drive. It felt better on the road. The engine was strong but quiet. Strong build. It was solid, safe, and long-lasting. Affordable luxury. It wasn't too expensive, but it felt premium, and people loved it. People who bought the Accord never stopped talking about it. They said things like, "It's been 10 years, and my Accord still runs like new. I've driven it across the country without a single problem. My dad had one, now I have one too." It became a trusted name. A car that represented quality, trust, and smart choices. If the Civic was Honda's opening act, the Accord was the standing ovation. It showed the world that Honda wasn't just lucky. They were smart, consistent, and deeply connected to what people truly needed. Let me tell you something amazing. Soichiro Honda didn't act like a typical boss. He didn't wear expensive suits. He didn't sit in a luxury chair giving orders. He worked with his employees, not above them. He once said, "A company is not a machine. It is a collection of people. If you take care of your people, they will take care of your customers." He treated every employee with respect, whether it was an engineer or a cleaner. He believed in learning from mistakes, and he never punished people for trying something new. At Honda, everyone was encouraged to think, to innovate, to speak up. This culture made Honda different from every other company. People don't just buy machines, they buy what the machine means to them. A father buys a bike to take his son to school. A young woman buys her first car with her own salary and cries sitting in the driver's seat. A man loses his job but keeps his old Honda running while searching for the next opportunity. These stories are not about engines and tires. These are about dreams. Honda became a brand of stories, of journeys, of life. And that's how Honda kept winning hearts. Not with loud marketing, but with quiet trust. But the path wasn't always smooth. Honda faced hard times too. There were moments of failure, models that didn't sell, factories that had to be closed, but Honda never stopped. Why? Because failure was never feared, it was respected. Let's look at one example, the launch of the first luxury car, the Acura brand in America. Honda had already become a trusted name for economy cars. But now it wanted to step into luxury. It was a bold move. Competing with brands like BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, that was no small thing. People said, Honda can't do luxury. It's for middle-class people. But Honda answered with action. The Acura Legend was launched. Smooth, quiet, powerful, beautifully designed. And it worked. Acura became America's first successful Japanese luxury brand. Meanwhile, in the world of motorcycles, Honda was becoming the king. In countries like India, people said, if you want a bike that never dies, buy a Honda. Farmers, students, delivery men, everyone trusted Honda bikes. Models like the CD100, the Shine, and the Unicorn became household names. But Honda didn't stop there. It wanted to give back to the planet. The future was changing. Pollution was rising. So Honda began focusing on green technology. It started working on hybrid engines, cleaner fuel, better batteries, and finally, electric vehicles. While other companies were still thinking, Honda had already started doing. Let's begin at a quiet place. In one of Honda's futuristic research labs in Japan. It's not noisy. There are no roaring engines. There are soft footsteps, quiet discussions, glowing computer screens, and eyes full of wonder. These are not ordinary workers. These are dream builders. They are not working on tires or seats. They are working on dreams that fly. Yes, Honda was now dreaming beyond roads. After becoming a global success in bikes and cars, Honda asked a bold question. What if we can fly? Not just with airplanes, not just with machines, but with hope, with technology that touches the sky. And just like that, a new chapter began. Honda Aircraft Company. You see, when Honda started designing a jet, the world laughed again. Who do they think they are? They are good with bikes, they are good with small cars, but jets? It's not a toy, it's aviation. But Honda had never listened to doubters before. Why start now? So the engineers worked day and night. For 30 years, they didn't stop. They tested, failed, reworked, redesigned. No shortcuts, no rushing. And then came the moment. The first test flight of the Honda Jet. It wasn't just an airplane, it was a revolution. The Honda Jet had engines placed above the wings, a rare design. People said, it won't fly. But it did, and it flew better than anyone expected. It was. Faster, quieter, more fuel efficient, more spacious inside, and smarter in design than jets twice its price. In 2018, Honda Jet became the best-selling light business jet in the world. Now imagine that, a company that began with bicycle repairs. A man who failed in school and business had now built a machine that flies in the sky, above clouds, above doubt, above fear. This isn't just business. This is human achievement. But Honda still wasn't done. It looked again into the future and asked, what do humans really need in the next 50 years? The answer wasn't speed. It wasn't power. It was care. The world is aging. People are living longer, but they need support, love, help. So Honda turned its eyes towards something new. Robots, not scary ones, not cold machines, but gentle, kind, smart robots who could help the elderly, support children, assist the disabled. And thus, Honda created something magical. The world's most advanced humanoid robot at the time. Asaimo, a little white robot shaped like a child in a spacesuit. But this child could walk, talk, run, climb stairs, wave hello, carry objects, and understand voice commands. People cried when they saw it. Children reached out to touch its hands. It wasn't just a robot. It was a symbol of hope, a vision of a future where machines don't replace us. They support us. And still, Honda was not done. It started investing in hydrogen fuel technology, dreaming of cars that emit only water, not pollution. It developed electric vehicles, smart navigation, AI systems, safety features, and even self-driving technology. It worked on walking assist devices for stroke patients. It designed solar energy systems for clean homes. And in every one of these dreams, there was one common thing: respect for life. Not just human life, but the life of this earth. Our home. Because Honda believed that technology should serve humanity, not control it. That progress is only real when it brings peace, health, and hope. Let's now look at what makes Honda truly unforgettable. Is it the vehicles? The jet? The robot? No, it's the philosophy. Soichiro Honda once said, "Success represents 1% of your work, which results from the 99% that it called failure." That's it. The secret. He taught us that it's okay to fall, to cry, to be rejected, to be misunderstood, as long as you don't quit. As long as you stand up one more time than you fall. As long as you believe in your dream more than the world believes in your failure. Honda is proof that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. It's proof that your background doesn't matter. Only your belief does. So what happens now? Where does the story go from here? The truth is, it goes to you. Yes, you, reading this final chapter. This is no longer Honda's story. It's your story now. You are the dreamer. You are the creator. You are the next chapter. Ask yourself, what dream is sleeping inside you? What idea are you hiding because of fear? What gift do you carry in your hands? If a young boy in Japan can rise from a bicycle repair shop to touching the sky, so can you. Remember, you don't need perfect English to start. You don't need rich parents. You don't need fame or followers. You need one thing: courage. The courage to try, to fail, to rise, to try again, to be laughed at, to be lonely, to be strong, to become a light for others. So today, close this story with a full heart. Stand up from your chair and whisper these words to yourself. I will not die with my dream inside me. That's the real ending of this story. Not in a book, not on a screen, but in your life. Because you, my friend, are not small. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are a burning fire. Let it rise. Let it shine. Let it fly. Like a Honda jet, above every limit, above every doubt, above everything the world said you could not do. This is the end of the story, but the beginning of you. Thank you for reading. Now go live your dream. Because the road belongs to those who dare to drive it.